If you're watching this video, then there's a high chance that you're familiar with Ali Abdaal and his part-time YouTuber Academy. In this video, I'm going to share my experiences of having gone through the Academy, so I'll be covering what it's like to go through it as a student, what the good points are, what the bad points are. We'll talk about the price and whether it's right for you. And if you stick to the end, I'll share 3 surprising things that I found during the course and what those metrics look like on my own YouTube journey. So let's dive right in. So let's start with the course. What is it like? So to give you a picture of what the experience is as a student, you essentially join these online classes via Zoom. And when I joined, there were over 300 people on those Zoom calls to start with. And Ali is an excellent teacher. The information that he packs into this course is extremely dense. And what I found really interesting was that whether you're just starting out as a YouTuber or if you're an experienced YouTuber, there will be content that serves you right for the moment that you need it. When I went through it, I had over 1,000 subscribers and I was already monetized. So I had a very different perspective at looking at improving the trajectory of my channel moving forward, which it absolutely delivered on. Now, if you were just new to YouTube, which we'll cover more about later, then it has lots of early kind of basically just getting you over that hump to get started with your YouTube channel. Now, some of the things I imagine would go over your head later on, but for the most part, it is very densely packed. In addition to the main Zoom lectures, you actually get additional ones where you have popular YouTubers who come and speak about their experiences and their techniques, sort of niching down into specific things. For example, if you want to really make your thumbnails pop or your titles pop, then you'll have someone coming and talking about what worked for them that changed the trajectory of their channel. And then there's the house party, where you're put in groups of other people who have channels of a similar size to you, roughly around 50 people in a group. And then those weekly sessions, the house master will go in and will basically deep dive into specific things about the channels, whether it's looking at your channel branding overall, whether it's looking at your hook, all those kind of things. And you get to learn from your peers, you get to contribute back and test your ideas. And it's a really great way to have that mastermind group to think about your channel specifically rather than the course as a whole. And then you could also be paired with an accountability partner. So this will be someone else, again, with a similar sized channel, but also in a same niche. So if you're entertainment or if you're education, all those kind of things. And that allows you to have someone who can be your accountability buddy to help you do the homework, to pair up and potentially make good friendships. And finally, there is the homework assignment. This is the big piece that you have to take away from each week, where you're given an assignment to challenge you, whether it's to create your first video or whether it's to experiment with, say, YouTube Shorts, or do something quick, or do a book review, something that maybe you've not done before. But what it does is it allows you to put the practice of what those lectures have taught you into a video. They get posted then on the community group, and you're guaranteed that at least someone, whether it's a member of the PTYA team or the community or the members who have joined, they will give feedback, and it gives you an opportunity to watch other people's videos and give feedback as well. So the good thing here is that you can also pick up tips and ideas and even learn what doesn't work by reviewing other people's work as well. So let's talk about some of the good points. Ali Abdaal is an excellent teacher. You can see the experience that he's gained through his own channel growth just come through. He will pick random topics and he'll basically riff an entire video that sounds like an Ali Abdaal video. You can tell he has that experience, which means you're learning from someone who knows what they're talking about. And this course is so densely packed with information. I found that basically I was screenshotting as many of the Zoom slides as I was going, making my notes. And it's just really hard to just keep up with the pace and the depth of that information. But ultimately, that is what you're paying for, is that insight that can change the trajectory of your channel, and you won't be disappointed in the content. Next up, Ali is very open with his channel and his feelings towards his channel. He will share specific numbers, he'll look at a specific video, screen share his own channel, and you'll see those views, and you'll see those spikes, you'll see that revenue, and quite frankly, your mind will be slightly blown with what he shows, but really what that does is it shows the potential of what YouTube has to offer. And I think it's really nice to see tangible things, real world things of what works, what doesn't work, and putting those numbers to it. There's no hiding, and I think that was really good of the course. It's not something that is usually open to people, and having that, being on the inside, really gives you that courage to really understand how the machine works. And then there's the breakout rooms. So when you're watching the main lectures with Ali, every so often he'll give you a little bit of a task, and then you'll go in a breakout room on the Zoom call with about 4 or 5 other people. And that's a really great way to get to know who else is on the course, get to test your ideas with them, get to get feedback from them. And I think that really solidifies the cohort-based learning, that essentially you're learning with other people, and it's not just teacher to student, it's actually the students learning from each other. The homework. This is an excellent proof that you're being tangible with your learning. It's easy to pick up a book and read the book, but you don't do anything with the information. Or to buy another online course that it's just a video course and you're watching it and you're not putting it into practice. You are challenged to do the homework, and that's really important. So if you're not confident or you don't really know how to start, this will get you started. And then if you're a more experienced channel and some of the homework doesn't fit, that's okay too. Try and use the techniques. You're here to learn. Put it into your videos and see what happens. And through the homework, we've seen other members have almost viral success with their videos, 100,000 views, those kind of things. So it's really interesting to see that it works. The homework works, put the time in and do it. It solidifies your understanding, and it gives you a framework of which to get the feedback, which helps you with your learning. Now, I'm going to put this one as a good point, which is that it doesn't cover video editing. Maybe this is selfish because I learned video editing many, many years ago over the years, so I don't want to cover things I already know. There are many courses already out there. Ali has his own on Skillshare that covers video editing, which means we can focus on things that really make a difference with your channel, not the basics. It's what you do with the video editing that makes a difference. So I think that's really good that it's explicitly saying if you don't know how to edit videos, go learn that somewhere else, because once you know how to put videos together, now you'll learn how to make good videos. And one of my favorite parts was the content structure and storytelling. There are things in there that I kind of knew them before in my own kind of journey of YouTube and writing and things like that, and seeing Ali's way of approaching content, so the quartet structure, the hero's journey, I think these are really powerful tools to create better, more engaging videos, and it's something that I'm trying to think more about in my own content creation, and I absolutely believe it's the right way forward. The only thing I absolutely wish is that section alone had its own masterclass, and in the absence of it being on the PTYA, I'm kind of wondering whether it's something I should create on my channel here, because I really love that skill of using words and storytelling and knowing the difference between a good story and a bad story and bringing it all together, that helps someone really have a transformative experience watching videos. And I think that's pinnacle, whether you're writing blog posts or creating YouTube. I think it's pinnacle. Getting that skill will be a game changer in your content delivery. Okay, so we've covered some of the good points, but as always, there'll be some bad points. So let's dive into these. First of all, it is really intense. This came when I'm busy on a project at work. I'm trying to do my own YouTube videos. I've got a family and I'm trying to build my own note-taking app. And to add on to that, the 2 lectures a week for 2 hours each one, for the guest lectures, for the homework, doing the homework, for the house party, communicating on the forum, and of course, if you have an accountability buddy, keeping in touch with those. This is really intense. If you've got the time, that is great. If you don't have the time, it's really stressful. You're densing something into 6 weeks and it's really, really compact and it goes pretty quickly. And to top it off, I not only got ill in the first week, but in something like week 5, I got COVID as well. So that felt really disappointing that, I've got this short window to maximize what I can get out of it, and things were just working against me. So do bear that in mind. If you're really busy, you have to be mindful that you have to put time into it. And if you don't put that time in, what are you going to do to make sure that you get the value out of it. But I would add to that you do get access to all the lectures and all the guest lectures online. And if you pay for the extended version, then you get all the future ones as well. But you don't get access to videos of the house parties. Those ones aren't recorded. So do bear that in mind if you can't make those. So the second bad point is, I guess, depending on where you are, if you're a brand new YouTuber, then there'll be content that just feels so far away, so far removed from what you're doing. Monetization, affiliates, building relationships, outsourcing, all those things just seem like, oh my goodness, I'm not ready for that. But bearing in mind what that's doing is putting doors in walls so that when you get to those walls, you know how to open that door and proceed. So it's giving you that framework. But on the flip side, if you're slightly more advanced in your YouTube channel, the first couple of weeks seem to be covering stuff you know already, like how to post videos, how to write descriptions, all those kind of things. So in a way, you kind of don't always get exactly what you need, but I think it's so densely packed throughout that you'll absolutely get something that is just right for what you need for your channel at any given moment. One of the other bad points is you have no control over the timing of the lectures. So they happen usually around 4 p.m. UK time to cover basically all time zones. And if it suits you, great. If it doesn't, you're kind of screwed. But the good thing is you can view them online. However, I've found that when you have access to them online, you've actually got to make a lot more effort to attend them and make the notes from them. Whereas if you're doing it live, you feel like you're actually in a lecture and you're more attentive. So yeah, it is what it is. I understand why it is. It's just, if it doesn't land at a time that's convenient for you, you're kind of screwed. And one of the things I observed is this course is actually really quite popular. There were about 300 plus people on the Zoom calls to start with. Make no mistake, not everybody survives and attends them all. And when you have so many people, you feel that maybe it's not quite as close knit as you were kind of expecting, especially for the price, as we'll come to in a moment. But I think it's handled really quite well. The breakout rooms, as I've mentioned, they work really, really well to sort of get your cohorts down to smaller groups. You've got the house parties as well. But yeah, make no mistake, when you're on that Zoom call, that chat of people communicating, that is flying by. So it is very busy on there. And really the final bad point, which I think is my own experience rather than a general everybody would experience this, is the accountability buddy. I got matched with someone who their category was entertainment videos, whereas mine's education. And I don't know whether that was my fault I selected the wrong thing, but it's just really hard to know how to fix that. And in the end, I realized actually I didn't want an accountability buddy. I had someone else in my own personal network who could be that person, and I just didn't have the extra time to put into that, more calls to communicate. I didn't want to let them down either. But I then opted out and then got paired up with someone else, and it just felt like it was a bit clunky in the experience. So that was a bit frustrating because you'll notice with the course that different systems are used. So the accountability buddy system is using one service. They use the Circle community for another part for the online community. Then you've got lots of emails and lots of things. It's quite hard to organize all of that, and when the whole thing kicked off, lots of things were coming through, and yeah, the accountability buddy part, I filled it out, and then I just kept on getting the email saying you've been matched with someone. I'm like, oh well, that they're not even in the right kind of content area that I want, and then like, well, what do I do here? So yeah, it wasn't ideal, and I think that was partly my experience. I think for other people it worked really well. So yeah, it's just something that I felt didn't work very well through my experience. And that's really it. That's the negative points. Ultimately, it's densely packed, well organized, a few things rough around the edges, and it's full on. So that's the important thing, and I think that can be a good thing rather than a bad thing, because it means that you can take it seriously and you can just do it, time box it, 6 weeks, go for it, that kind of mentality. So I think it can be quite exciting having that energy, with the intensity. So then we come on to the price. This course is not cheap. I believe it starts around $1,500. I believe I paid $2,500 for the one where you get to go through it a second time and you get access to the content moving forward. And that is not a small amount of money, and I think you have to really carefully consider that when deciding, like, what does that money mean to you is it the right time to make that investment? Do I think it's worth that price? I do. I think for me, with taking YouTube more seriously, that money, I will make that money back. It's an investment. That makes sense to me. I already had monetized my channel before doing the course, so I knew that I could quantify some kind of return on that by using YouTube, using the tools and the techniques to accelerate my YouTube channel's growth. But there are times when it's not worth the money. And Ali actually does a very good job to filter during the onboarding, like, you do not buy this course if, and one of those is, if you need this money to survive, if you need to pay rent, or you need it to buy food or essentials, do not use it on this. Do not do that, because the most important thing is it's not something that's going to give a quick return. You're not going to put $1,500 into a course and then 6 weeks later you'll be making $1,500 off YouTube. It is not like that. And one of the things that Ali really explains, it's going to take 2 years for you to really know whether this YouTube thing is going to work for you. Some people may get there earlier, some people may take longer, but if you don't consider that 2 years of effort of trying, iterating, growing, if you think you can do it in 6 weeks, it's not going to happen. If you can think that actually I want to do this, and this time next year I still want to do it, and this time the year after I still want to do it, then that is the kind of mindset you need. So it could be that long before you start to see any kind of return on this investment. And what you're buying is not a silver bullet. You're buying information, you're buying inspiration, you're buying techniques, strategies, systems, but you have to implement them. So one of the things that's really easy to do is to buy that course, and then you feel really buzzed up that you've made an action, and psychologically you don't go and complete that course because the dopamine effect of going through that has worn off. So you need to go in with this eyes wide open and say, if I put this money in, that should be the motivation to make something of it. And you've got to take action. You've got to participate. You've got to do the homework. You've got to do the studying. And it's really important that you don't feel that it's going to do it for you. It won't. You have to do it. And I'll come on to that in a moment when I'm going to reflect on my own channel and what I've done and what's kind of where it sits and how it's affected my channel. And it's really important. You've got to do the work. That's how you get the return of that investment. And finally, it's probably not the right time for you to do something like this if you get easily overwhelmed. As I've mentioned, it is densely packed. The pressure's high. And what normally happens is maybe you'll complete the first homework piece, and then maybe the second one you'll slip. And once you do that, this switch might happen in your mind where it's like, well, it's an all or nothing. I failed to do one of the homeworks, therefore I won't put the energy in to do the rest. I experienced that a bit when I got ill with COVID. I'm like, well, I just want this thing to kind of be over. And that's doing the homework, that's paying attention, putting the energy in. I need a break. That's how I felt. And it's kind of a dangerous place to be in early on, especially if you're a new YouTuber. I was confident that I could do that because I'm already creating videos and I'm already monetized, I'm already growing, and I'm taking that knowledge and I can now take my time to strategize and implement. But if you're at the early stage, if you're the seed in the ground and you need that water and that sunshine, you've got to capitalize on it there and then. So don't do it if you find things easily overwhelming and you know that the moment it gets tough, you'll back away. And it's harsh to say, because only you can make that decision whether you're someone who can power through challenge or whether you're someone who shies away. And when money's on the line, then powering through is the only option. If you shy away after weeks 1 and weeks 2 because you got distracted or you didn't quite feel confident to create the channel and put your first video, just switch the mind off and do it. That's the mentality you need with this. And if you find that too overwhelming, I would be cautious recommending that this is the right thing for you. So you might be wondering, should I sign up? Well, let me tell you, this is when you absolutely should not sign up. It's if you like the idea of being a YouTuber rather than being someone who puts the work in to grow and is using YouTube as a tool for some other kind of direction and goal that you have. So if you just want the views and you just want the subscribers and the brand deals and the revenue and all of that, then it's probably not the right thing for you, because ultimately you don't buy that. You earn it. You earn it through hard work. You earn it through strategy. You earn it through gaining skills. You earn it through failure as well. So absolutely do not sign up if this is a pipe dream, but is something that you want, but you're not exactly committed to. You wouldn't sacrifice other things for this, for doing the work that gets to this. And I think that's really important. The second reason why you should absolutely not sign up is if you want to do it for money. Making YouTube videos will earn less than any job in the early days. It's an exponential curve. You earn practically nothing, and then if it takes off, which is only a small selection of people, if it takes off, then the money can be disproportionate to the effort put in. But not everyone will get there. So don't get survival bias, where you're looking at those like Ali who have the great numbers, who have come out through the 2-3 years of really hard work grinding, who have lucked out in certain videos, who found his voice and his way of doing things, which you can't replicate. You have to find your own. If you just want the money, you will take short-term decisions to try and do that, and you will fail. I'm a believer that actually it's the moment that you start pushing away the money, that you dedicate your skill to the craft and the passion and the content that you're creating. It's paradoxical, then the money will follow. In my channel, it is not about the money. It is about helping grow an audience of people who just want to become thinkers and doers. It's my way of giving back in life. And it's really important that you need the passion for what you create and not do it just for the money. And let me explain, there are a few people who I've come to pass with during this YouTube journey where they have a consultancy business which they charge for, and they're leveraging YouTube to be a marketing funnel. But what they're doing is they're holding back because they want a sale of their consultancy business. YouTube is very unforgiving with that strategy. Consumers, viewers, they're not idiots. They know when something is engaging, something is giving, and they will reward you with views and then AdSense and trust and authority. But the moment you hold back on them, they've moved on. So don't do it for money. Do it because you want your message and you love what you're doing and you want to get it out there. The third reason why you absolutely should not do this is if you're impatient. If you're looking at the metrics, if you're trying this, that, but you're not getting the results. If 20 views on one video means that you never do a video like that again, then you're being impatient. It takes time. The algorithm needs to learn. Your audience needs to build. The trust needs to happen. Sometimes it will work more quickly. Sometimes it will take a long time. And if you're impatient, you'll give up sooner. You will think that something hasn't worked before it's even had time to start. So if you're that kind of person where you just want results straight away, then this probably isn't the right thing for you. Like we say, it's got to be 2 years of effort to get there. And that's the average, so you've got to be prepared to put it in. Now, it doesn't mean you can be slow, you can be hasty, you can be quick with your decisions, but you've got to understand results take time to build. And finally, you shouldn't do this if you plan to half-ass your strategy. If you plan to think that it's easy, therefore you don't need to put the work in. You don't need to really research your videos. You don't need to understand that you've got a lot of skills to do, that you can just turn a camera on, natural ability will happen, and people will love and like the video. No, it is hard. There are 1,000,001 things that you will do wrong in every video, and you have to be prepared to pick the ones that you want to iterate on, the ones you want to improve on. And you also have to make sure that when you do a video, you give the content the audience wants. If you half-ass it and give them half of what they want, then they will not come back. They will signal to the algorithm that they're turning off and going on to another channel or another video, and that will hurt your rankings. You've got to give it your all. And I think that's really important. Only you know yourself if you're planning to shortcut this, or whether you're planning to go deep and learn and fail and try again and again and again and again. It's really important. And that ultimately is what it will take. You've got to grind it through and you've got to give your best. You can't half-ass it. Okay, so what are the reasons when you would sign up to the Part-Time YouTuber Academy? Well, first of all, we've spoken about the price and the money. So if you have the money and you don't have a direct need for it and you want to make an investment and you want to take YouTube seriously, then absolutely go for it. This was a recommended strategy for me. My accountability coach, he said to me, hey, do you know Ali Abdaal? I'm like, yeah, I know Ali Abdaal. I actually think he's a genius. And he said, then you're going to sign up to the PTYA because you take YouTube seriously. I'm like, okay. And I don't regret it. I had the money, I had the encouragement, and I made that investment, and I do not regret it. You absolutely should do it if you have a growth mindset. So if you are someone who can look at your skills and objectively judge them without making yourself feel bad, and that you can say, hey, if I tweak this thing, if I learn this thing, if I practice this thing, and you keep going, you will see growth. By virtue of that, failure is your way upwards. So with a growth mindset, you can try things, you can experiment, you can find your voice, you can see what hits the algorithm, and you'll learn along the way. It's almost impossible not to learn if you keep at it. You should sign up if this is something that has been on your mind for a long time, and you've got that growth mindset and you've got the money, and you just need a little bit of a nudge to say, hey, I'd really enjoy doing this. I just need that last tipping of the balance. And that's what happened for me. And what you need to do then is say, do you know what, if I do this, I'm going to make something of it. I'm going to really do it. And you should then feel excited that actually you're investing in yourself. So if you've been thinking about it for a long time and all the other things kind of come in, go for it. So you absolutely should do this if you already have a channel that is growing and you want to change that trajectory. So rather than your growth going like this, with this information, these strategies, these systems, you can make it go like that. And basically what you're doing is you're buying time. You're taking this money, you're gaining the skills, and you're shortening the amount of time it takes for you to get the return on that. And that's a really great investment. And that's one of the decisions that I made for my channel. I'm already monetized, I just want to accelerate my path. You should absolutely do this if you want to learn new skills. YouTubing has a wide range of skills that can be applied in many different disciplines. As a kid, I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I chose to be a programmer instead. And here I am, making videos and making money from those videos. Isn't that amazing? So the skills you'll learn about content creation, you'll learn about storytelling, you'll learn about the subject you love that you want to communicate, you'll learn how to talk on camera, you'll learn how to edit, you'll learn how to do thumbnails and titles and music and maybe some VFX or motion graphics, or you'll learn how to deal with brands and sponsors. You'll learn how the business of the algorithm and keywords, like there is a whole host of skills that whatever happens now, you have those, and you can go in other business situations where these are tangible skills. So if you go and work for another company where they're doing PPC marketing and you're like, well, I understand how ad revenue works at the other end. I know how I make money and how the algorithm kind of selects content. Like you get a great understanding of the end-to-end of the kind of whole ecosystem, you know, from running your own content business to the content creation. And finally, you should absolutely do this is if you have something you really care about and you want to build an audience around that and you want to find your tribe. This is what I'm doing. I love note-taking. I'm building a note-taking app and I want to find an audience of lifelong learners who love being inspired by knowledge and using that in their lives. And so far, it has been so rewarding for me. I'm growing my own community and I'm growing an audience here on YouTube, and it's just a wonderful thing. You find your niche, you find the people who love the things that you love, you get to be better at what you do by communicating and teaching, and for me, that's probably the biggest motivator for continuing with YouTube. It's not about the money, it's not about the fame, it's about connecting with people who have the same values as me, who have the same interests, and being able to be part of that ecosystem. Okay, so now I'm going to share the 3 things I found quite surprising when going through the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. First up, it's not just about growing a YouTube channel and making more money on YouTube. What Ali does really well is he shows the business as a whole. He's grown a team of people. He's running his own cohort, which is the Part-Time YouTube Academy. He's managed to launch podcasts. He's managed to get affiliate deals. He's writing a book, and he shows the whole spectrum of things that you can kind of tap into as a whole content business rather than just YouTube. And for me, I think that's really enlightening to see the potential of things beyond YouTube. And as an entrepreneur myself, that's really important because I'm trying to marry my content strategy with my product, and there's a whole host of other ways to kind of connect everything together and build a solid, sustainable business. The second thing is the concept of doing heavy lifts or using your system. And I think that's really important because we think about making videos and writing scripts, and we think of it in terms of an activity that you just do top to bottom. And what Ali does really well is he explains things in terms of systems, whether it's creating a system to come up with ideas for a video or a system for researching and filling in the content while you've got spare moments. This is something that I kind of gleaned into his way of doing things on his main channel, and it's really solidified. Creating Notion templates, for example, to manage your content, and essentially you're streamlining. And the big thing here is don't do heavy lifts. Don't make each video a big endeavor that you have to motivate yourself and set everything up. Batch as much as you can. And that's really, really important. When you're just starting out, you've just got to go through, you've got to get the practice. But once you start streamlining things, you need your systems. And as James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And I think the most surprising thing is going through this, I now understand more about what it's like running a cohort-based business. So as an educator here on YouTube, I'm thinking that in the next year or 2 years, I would like to run my own knowledge workshop, mastery workshop cohorts. So since doing the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, I've also set up my own community for lifelong learners who love note-taking. And I'm using the same platform because now I'm familiar with it. And so far I'm at about 160 members in that community, which is amazing. And I think what's really good here is now I get to see the mechanics of running that side of the business. It's actually nothing to do with YouTube, but using YouTube to build an audience and then sort of pivoting your business into giving more back, more service offering. And for Ali, the majority of his revenue comes from this course. It's not a cheap course, 300 people, ish people do it every cohort. And I believe he says it makes over $2 million or £2 million a year in revenue. Compared to his YouTube revenue, this is bigger than that. And I think that's where you see the potential of what you do on YouTube. You create these dedicated audiences, your tribe. You find the people who love the things you love, and it gives you an opportunity to create more for your audience by creating courses, cohorts. And for me, the surprising thing was now I can look at it through a lens of how does he piece it together? He hires a team to do what? He organizes sessions by what? He runs his Zoom lectures this way. It just breaks down those barriers that could kind of prevent you from visualizing that next step, what the outcome of the things that you kind of aspire to. And I think that's really good. And I took that as a really good takeaway from going through this course. So let me talk about my YouTube journey just to give you an idea of what it's like from my perspective as a YouTuber, and let's get some numbers on it. So here is a graph of my subscriber growth. I started YouTubing around 2016, and I did a daily video for 130 days, but never really peaked past the 350 subscribers. it was hard work and I burnt out. And then I waited and waited and waited and waited for that perfect moment to create videos. And perfection is the enemy of YouTubers. Make no mistake. I know so many people who are waiting to start YouTubing, but they want it to be perfect. I'm like, no. Then I started sharing updates on the app I'm building and teaching some knowledge management techniques about note-taking on my channel. And then it grew, and it's continuing to grow. And now I'm over 5,000 subscribers, which for me is mind-blowing. When it comes to monetization, I got monetized last year, and so far I've earned over £1,000, about $1,400 from YouTube. So this is real money, real progress, and it's really important now to start thinking of this as a business, and with a business using these techniques to continue that growth. One of the main things I've implemented straight away from this course is the concept of batching. So this means that when I record a video, I don't just do one at a time. It's not a heavy lift. So what I do is I start researching, scripting all my videos in the background. I do that in the evenings, and I'm working on multiple ones at a time. And then when I record them, I can record multiple at a time, and then I can edit them down. That's just the first part. There are so many more things now that I can start bringing in as I do my research. I can start putting the hero's journey and the quartet structure. I can start thinking of the titles and the thumbnails in advance. These are all the systems that are needed to continue that growth, and it be something that is scalable when I'm a busy person. And another way that he says about monetizing your channel, which is something that I'm implementing sooner than later, is affiliate programs with brands that I love. So this is something I'm doing in the background with brands who have reached out for sponsorships. I'm going back and saying, rather than sponsor a video, do you have an affiliate program? Ali has shown specific numbers of what he's earned on his affiliate programs, and they're quite impressive. And I want to go down that path because I don't want to sell out to brands and kind of disrupt the flow of the content, but I want to be able to communicate, brands I do love, and just point to affiliate programs. So that's something that I'm doing immediately to help the sustainability of the channel. So as we close out this video, I hope this has been really useful for you to get an idea of whether this is right for you. And if you are considering signing up to the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, then I do have an affiliate link in the description. And if you sign up through that link, then it does support my channel and the work that I'm doing, which is to help other people with their knowledge journey and inspire a generation of thinkers and doers. So thank you very much, and catch you in the next video.